I'll send that to the editing department, and you're right. I'm sorry. I will starting over. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Same Storm, Different Boat. Today, we're speaking with Elise Johnson Nail,
That's
a newly
right.
acquired last name because she and Charles are recent newlyweds. We know Elise from working with an organization in Delray Beach, Florida called Old School Square, a community-based nonprofit that we've done some fundraisers for and been involved in helping them do good things for children in the community, underprivileged children. And it was our honor to do all of that. So hello, Elise. It's good to see you again.
Hi, Wayne and Rhonda. Great to see you as always.
We have questions for you.
Okay.
Are you
I
ready?
might have some answers.
Good. First of all, my description was very brief. Old School Square has been around for a long time in Delray Beach and done great things for underprivileged kids. Could you just explain a little bit about the organization and about the role that you play now since we did those couple of fundraisers when you were a board member?
Okay, will do. Thank you. As you know, Old School Square is really Delray Beach's. It's a community gathering place. We have music and comedy and dance and fine arts and performing arts. It's actually the #1 attended organization in all of Palm Beach County, with 3,600 public offerings and 850,000 attendees a year, which you don't realize.
No idea.
We know, and we actually represent $100 million in economic impact annually, which is really, really huge for all of downtown Delray, not just us, but the entire community. You know, Old School Square, we took over an old school that was built in 1913. It was the elementary school, and another building from 1925, which is the Crest Theater building. And they were renovated, and it's been in use since 1993. So we're getting close to our 30-year anniversary, which is really exciting for a nonprofit for the arts in these, times. So
Literally
we're
had chills.
really fortunate. What?
I literally got chills when you said you're approaching 30 years.
It's
huge.
Amazing. It's a huge success story. And, Wayne, as you mentioned kids, we actually launched an initiative this year, and we were going out to the schools and bringing programming to underprivileged kids in underserved schools in our community, and teaching music and doing some seminars with some others about bullying and trying to teach coping. And we're going to continue with that. So we have our new outreach programming, which is really very cool. And we're doing some of that by video now. Obviously, things have changed a little bit. Old School Square as a nonprofit, our grants and fundraising efforts only account for 25% of our annual budget. The other 75% is ticket sales and rentals. As you know, we're not having any programming right now.
Right.
So it's really quite difficult, and we're really, it's a little bit nerve-wracking as far as the future of the organization. One thing that we're really lucky about is, we do have our really quaint 325-seat theater. How do you socially distance that? It's next to impossible. And then to have an act in there and to be able to afford to pay the act and all the other things and keep people socially distant. We'd have to take out rows so they could get up to use the restrooms. And so we're fortunate that we also have our outside pavilion. And with the outside pavilion, social distancing is going to be a little bit easier. We can do, instead of circles in the grass as everybody's doing, we'll do squares for Old School Square. But, we'll be able to have some outside entertainment. We're looking at what that looks like. We're working with the city of Delray Beach, to figure out how we can do that and make that happen. So I'm the chairman of the board, which is really fun. This is my last year of being chairman. And, basically my role is to lead the board of directors and to assist our CEO, President Shannon, and the rest of the staff at Old School Square. I don't know if you're aware, but we did have to furlough about 90% of our staff in order to be able to keep the organization afloat. So that's been really tough. That was a really difficult decision that we had to make for the organization.
That kind of leads me into, and what I'd like to kind of lay out for our listeners is to just imagine getting off the freeway and coming into the town of Delray Beach. And literally the first impressive piece of property and buildings that you come upon when you come into the town is Old School Square.
Right.
So it is a vital hub for the community of Delray Beach. And you had touched on this in what you were saying there. So you do have this big, beautiful outdoor stage, and you guys were able to put a roof over part of the seating area. And I cannot recall, is that permanent? Does that stay up all the?
No, unfortunately it's not. That's a tent.
Okay.
So every time that we do it, we have to put up a tent, you know, so, and that's an expensive endeavor. We're looking, as you know, everything's done by donors. When we renovated our museum 3 years ago, that was a private donor. It's world class, it's amazing. And we have some people that are interested in helping us put up a full roof. So that would really extend our usability, enhance it, because as you know, if we get a thunderstorm or rain and everything gets muddy, it makes it really difficult to put on a show. You guys have equipment that could get hurt, you know, so being able to have a roof would be phenomenal. We're lucky in Florida, you know, typically it rains a little bit and by the evening it's beautiful. So we're able to do a lot of outdoor shows, but you're right. No, we don't have a permanent roof at this point.
For the immediate future,
Mm-hmm.
do you see that you will kind of let the inside Crest Theater take a little rest, and you're focusing on your events, which is a huge part of your money making for the organization, will be focused outside?
Yes, absolutely. So that's the short answer is yes. We're going to hold off on the Crest Theater for a while. We're lucky we have another major donor who's helping us do some renovations to that building, which will give us a new kitchen and a new area for donors, and it'll be really wonderful. So the timing is kind of good because we really can't open the Crest right now. But we can, as soon as they allow groups of more than 10, you know, to do some programming outside, we'll be able to utilize all of those grounds. So that's our goal. In the meantime, we're doing like our school, our creative arts school, we're doing online, and it's going really well. So we're teaching classes online with our teachers, and instead of the students, which are all adults at this point, we're getting ready to add children's arts and singing and theater and all kinds of programming, but they can take our class from anywhere in the country. Which is really pretty phenomenal. So we're utilizing that, and we're doing tours of the museum virtually. We've talked about programming virtually, but Wayne, as you know, a lot of artists, as yourself, are doing programming from your own homes and singing and entertaining people. So it's kind of a hard thing to try to figure out how we would do programming and charge people for what they're getting for free. So we're really thinking out of the box. We're thinking about things like drive-in movies, things like doing a concert at a parking lot somewhere that isn't Old School Square, and sponsoring where people could stay in their cars. We really have to think out of the box and get creative and figure out a way to sustain this, as the word of the month is unprecedented situation.
Right.
It really is tough. Did I answer?
It is indeed. You take some heart in knowing that the most of the music business is looking at those same types of options. Outdoors is obviously the first place where you could spread people out far enough to possibly do it.
Right.
The issue that we're running up against, and I'm sure you will too, is this assumes that everyone will behave and be in their spots and not cause problems and so on and so forth. And there's a responsibility to not create an event where people are going to come and misbehave. I would hope that doesn't happen to any of us, but there are a few crazies out there who want to prove a point, and we don't want to be luring them to that parking lot for entertainment to do that. So that we're tiptoeing into it, but the same exact thing. All of our crew, sound company, stage company, bus, everybody lives in Nashville except us. And we're talking to those people about the possibility of finding a parking lot or doing something civic or something like that. But there are a lot of extra hurdles to jump over. It's not quite as easy as just saying, hey, let's go outside and play. Doesn't work.
No, it's not,
Unless you
and
live in the wild, wild west.
it's,
You
you
say,
know, the
hey,
other
come on
thing is,
out to the desert.
Right.
and you look at, restaurants are open and some things are open and people aren't behaving going to the restaurants either.
That's right.
So I don't know how we're going to do that. That's just one of the challenges that we all are facing
Right.
is how do we do that? If people aren't respecting others now in a small situation, how do we get them to do it in a large venue?
Yeah.
So that's tough. It's a tough hurdle. And, it's hard for us now. We usually by now have pretty much programmed our season.
Right.
So, we've been working with agents and all of that's in flux. And, this past year, we decided we were going to route with about 90 other Florida venues, which makes a lot more sense. We'd never done it that way. And it's more cost efficient. And as you know, as an artist, instead of flying in for one gig, if it's part of your route, it just makes a whole lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And now, all of the other venues that we are trying to route with, they're in the same predicament. Are they a small venue only inside? What are they going to do? So everything is really in flux as far as what the future is going to be for this next season.
Yeah.
I have a question too. Old School Square is the home of what I do believe still holds the title of the country's largest Christmas tree. Is that right?
Well, some say yes and some say no. It is the 100-foot Christmas tree
Okay.
that we puts up in Delray Beach, and it's one of the largest in the country. I've not heard of one larger, but I don't want to say yeah, it is.
Right, exactly. Just
And
in
it's unique too, in that you get to go inside.
yes.
So inside is all decorated, and it's really quite a unique.
And so the grounds provides the home for the tree.
Mhm.
The grounds at Christmas time provide a central spot for families to come, and there's ice skating and there's a carousel and there's the Christmas tree and there's Santa, and that's right, it is a tradition for many families to come to the avenue and to experience the holidays at Delray Beach because of those things.
Absolutely.
As we look forward into the year and as the organization plans the year out, what are you guys thinking about as far as this goes? Is it too early to make any calls on that?
Too early to make a call. I just read that the city is pretty sure we're canceling the July 4th activities.
Okay.
You got 20-some thousand people that come, plus the people that already live here. It's probably next to impossible, with the expense of the barge in the ocean, trying to social distance people, the crowds that are shoulder to shoulder, as you guys have seen. So right now, that's what's been canceled so far. And that's also another huge community gathering, as you know. We haven't even thought about or tackled Christmas and the menorah lighting celebration and all of those. They're not even on the
Radar.
list yet. No, not yet. Not yet. So
Let me ask you about another facet of your exciting life. You've been a business owner there for quite a few years. Again, family entertainment.
Yes.
Family gathering place, an elaborate, it's a total understatement to call it a miniature golf place. It is
Thank you, Wayne.
it's a fun experience. It is a golfing, a putting area where people gather. They have parties there and so on and so forth. How is this impacting, how's this impacting life and business there?
Well, I'll tell you, we opened Puttin Around 10 years ago. So you're right. It's been a pretty vital part of the community. We hold lots of fundraisers. Weekly, we have a different fundraiser. It's really been wonderful, from individuals who've been hurt to organizations to the Achievement Center for Children and Families. Pretty much anybody who wants to do a fundraiser there, we accommodate them. When we closed our doors, I believe it's been 10.5 weeks now. We closed very early. My son, who manages Puttin Around, was very concerned because everybody that was coming was fresh off the plane from New York. And at that time, New York was quite the hot spot, which it still is. But they were nervous. The staff that worked there was nervous, so we decided to close it up. We furloughed a few folks, and the rest we've kept. And we're doing renovations. We're regrouting the ponds and re-cementing things and putting up new netting and painting and doing all the things that we haven't done in 10 years because we've been open every day of the year. So we're taking advantage of that. What does it look like when we open? We've been working on that. We cleared out our lobby and our bar. There's no seating inside. Everything that we're reading is you're safer outside. So we socially distance some tables outside. We have quite a lot of seating for your group. If you come with your family of 4 or 5, you live together, you can sit together, that's fine. You'll be far away from others. We're doing the hand sanitizer when they walk in the door. We're going to take temperatures. We are going to give people their balls. They don't get to pick them themselves. They're going to pick their putter. Once they pay and go out the door, they're not allowed back in the lobby. We're going to have tea times every 10 minutes and then a line for walk-ups that'll be socially distanced. But as you know, the nature of the course is socially distanced. The holes are big. They're in that tropical garden. Once you're out there, you're just with your group. And if we pause in 10 minutes to one course and then another 10 minutes to the other, you're going to have 20 minutes between your group. So you're going to be pretty far from the next guy. And then when you leave, if you want to stay and eat, we have a window outside that you'll go up to order. You'll sit at your table and we'll bring it to you. And when you leave, you drop your putter and your ball and you go out that purple door by the bathrooms. You don't go back in the lobby. We're not crossing people. So I think we've got that part figured out. It's really a matter of how do we get people to behave on the course, not run through other people's games and keep them socially distant. I'm pretty optimistic that everything will work out, but we're not going to open until we're ready, and we're going to finish our renovations first. And frankly, I'm kind of happy to see what this gradual opening is going to do. Are people going to stay healthy? Or are they going to start to get sick? It's not worth opening and exposing all the people that will come and my staff to getting sick again if that indeed is the case. So we're kind of going slow with that.
What's the overall attitude, feel on the avenue? And before we get there, Wayne and I used to, as you know, obviously Elise, but I want to share with our listeners, we call Delray home, and Atlantic Avenue is the main thoroughfare. Like I said, anchored at the beginning of the avenue, just off of the freeway, is Old School Square. And the avenue is just filled with restaurants and galleries and shops. And it's where we all go. It's where Delray residents go. We felt blessed to have that because we didn't have to go anywhere else. You had what you needed, you had your friends, and it was all there. So with that in mind, as it being the livelihood of Delray Beach, what's the overall attitude there in the town?
Well, it's mixed. Some people are choosing to stay home. We have a great group, the Socially Distant Supper Club or whatever it's called on Facebook, and all the restaurants are participating, and a lot of people are ordering and picking up meals from the local restaurants to keep them viable, keep them alive. And now that the restaurants are open, there are numerous people that are going to those as well. Some people, I talked to our group of friends, and you guys know most of them. Some of them aren't comfortable yet, so they're ordering and going and picking up. Like La Sagal, you pull up and you'll open your trunk and they put your meal in your trunk. They close your trunk and off you go. So you're staying away from everyone. People that have health issues and don't really want to expose themselves have that right. And then if you want to go in the restaurant, they're working at 50% capacity. So you're pretty spaced out. But I would say it's kind of 50-50. You go down the street, and we drive our golf cart down the street, and I see maybe 25% of the people wearing masks. The other 75 are not, and that's a high number. It might even be 15%. So that's sort of interesting to me. I'm noticing in all the restaurants as they're serving, they're all wearing masks. They're trying really hard, but you can see the lines and the people, and they just kind of migrate closer and closer together. And so that's a little disconcerting to me, because they're just going to a restaurant and they can't stay 2 feet away, let alone 6.
Let
So,
alone,
so there's a mix. Some people are really respectful and some are in denial.
yeah.
In my opinion, maybe I'm the wrong one, but I think you need to stay away from others. So
Well, I want to paint this picture, and then you and I share a personal connection to our fears. Um, if we are at war, I've been thinking about this a lot. This is a war against the invisible enemy, and so on and so forth. If you're at war and you defeat half the enemy, 60% of the enemy, you defeat the big enemy, but you still know there's pockets of the enemy out there. Do you just walk out unprepared? Do you walk out without protection? That is my take on this, that the enemy is still there. If we want to put this on a war platform, which
a lot of people have.
a lot of people have, some of the whole world has, and suffered for it. We all have. I just don't see the sense in not being protected when you're going to walk out towards that quote unquote invisible enemy. And I say all that because your spouse and my spouse it would be a death sentence,
right,
for them to get the virus. We might be sick, we might be in pain, we might, like I said earlier, it's not just a chest cold, it's not just the flu. For them, it's a death sentence. So I don't understand the not wearing of the masks. I get the politics of it, and I get the this is America
right,
part of it, but I don't understand why you wouldn't at least take that caution for other people around you. And you're living it because you're a business owner and you run a company.
Yes, 100%, Wayne. And the interesting thing is the way I look at it is we have been home for what, 9 weeks now. And if we leave too early and we don't protect ourselves and we don't really think about what we're doing, that was all for naught.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of staying safe if you're just going to say, oh, never mind? Charles had an interesting perspective. He said pandemics are over when the community decides they are. And I think that that's kind of where we are right now, is everybody has decided, I've had enough of this. They can't see it. They can't smell it. They can't taste it. They walk outside, they feel fine. They want to go to the beach. They want to go to the bar. They want to go dancing. They want to go to the restaurant. They're tired of sequestering at home, but they don't realize that, we won some battles, to use your terminology, but we haven't won the war yet.
Right.
And to just decide, okay, everything's okay now, we need to open everything up for the economy to get back to doing the things that we all love to do, may not be the smartest thing. And it makes me nervous for the same reasons. Yeah. Charles was in the hospital enough. Yeah. He doesn't need to go back there. Rhonda, you don't need to go there.
Yeah.
And I don't need to be sitting here not even able to go hold his hand as you, Wayne. We wouldn't even be allowed to be with you because somebody, and that's another reason where you get a little bit nervous about opening up the golf course or opening up Old School Square, is all of us have been very, very careful. I haven't seen my son, who lives in Boca Raton, in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
We're trying to be really smart, but I'll be really mad if I have to go out somewhere and somebody who hasn't been social distancing gets me or Charles sick and I've been home for 9-10 weeks.
Right.
And not only was that time for naught, we may have to go straight back to it.
Yes, exactly.
It is a potential. There was one thing about Old School Square too, that we left Delray Beach just after it was starting to catch hold. What's happening at the art museum? Is that still in place, and are people, you're able to pace how people go through? Is that still raising?
We were not allowed to be open yet. Until last week. And unfortunately, with these rains, we've had a roof leak, even though it's a 4-year-old roof, go figure. So we're fixing that, and we're working. We've actually got the whole museum figured out of how to socially distance, how to do a path to not have to be with others, to time the entrances. And in the meantime, we've done virtual tours We had a Friday night, you know how they do the art walk on Friday nights?
Mhm.
We had a Friday night art walk, and we did it virtually. And the exhibit, they even had some masks on some of the pieces of art, which was really cute.
Awesome.
So we were able to
Love
do
it.
that. And we, for Mother's Day, we had people sign up to have private tours. And as soon as the drywall is fixed and the art's back up, as a Mother's Day gift, people were buying private tours of the museum. So that'll be really nice. So yeah, the museum is going to be up and live in the next 2 weeks, and for social distancing.
Yeah,
Good for you.
So I
that's
think we'll be able to handle that really well.
you, one of the things that we experienced with you guys, and one of the things that we as couples have in common is our love of travel. And we were so fortunate to to be included in your birthday celebration in Italy, and to spend a week in a villa with you guys and some other absolutely wonderful people. And it's kind of sad right now. And you guys are known, you and Charles are literally known for your adventurous
Yes.
trips. And you guys have actually given us some tips for us to do some trips. I know you guys had some planned that were upcoming. We as well, large trips. What's your thought on that? We have no idea when it'll really be, when we'll feel comfortable, but are you missing it? What's your thought about?
Yeah, of course. I miss it. You know, we have a trip that we were supposed to take in August. This is the third, anyway. We've tried to take this trip 3 times. And as you know, Charles got sick 2 years in a row and had to be in the hospital. So we were doing the Northwest Passage, 24 days on a cruise. No, we're not doing it. We canceled it. No. No, you know, I guess after the 3rd cancellation, I guess that trip really isn't meant to be. So maybe we're gonna skip that one. We're supposed to be in the Netherlands next week for my niece's high school graduation. And obviously the graduation ceremony has been canceled, and so has the trip. And there's been numerous things. You know, right now, I'm mixed. Charles doesn't want to get on a plane until he has a vaccine. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I thought, well, how am I going to see my parents? You know, my dad's 82, my mom is 77. They're very healthy and they're doing great, but they've been home for 3 months. As soon as this started, they stayed home, and they've been that way ever since. And I thought, well, I could rent. I think I told you this, Rhonda. I could rent maybe a Winnebago or something and drive up to Delaware from Florida. And then Charles thought, well, maybe we could do the auto train. I don't know if that's safe, but you know, I want to see my parents. I don't want them flying. Charles isn't getting on a plane. What's the point of me getting on a plane if I get sick and bring it home to Charles or my parents? So there's that. I know you have the same dilemma with your mom, Rhonda. And you know, do you get in the bus and do you go get her and bring her home? I don't know. Trips, you know, maybe we're not traveling for a couple years. I've been looking at beach houses that are 3 hours away, to maybe get a beach house, and if you need a break, go there. I don't know. I really don't know what it's going to look like. And you know, you think about travel, and that was part of our lives.
Yeah.
That was, you know, we go out with our friends. Like I'm sitting at the happy hour table right now that you guys have sat at numerous times. And, you know, we don't have our friends at the happy hour table. We don't go meet folks for meals. We're not traveling. We're not meeting people in Italy or anywhere else. We were supposed to meet Courtney and Taz in England. You know, we're not doing any of those things. So what is your thing? You know, what do you do after
Exactly.
what do you do? So I don't really know what the future's going to be, but I don't see us getting on a plane anytime soon. So
Wow. This has been a lot of fun.
it has been
Really
fun.
has.
Yeah, it's almost like you're sitting here with wine.
It is. And it is close to 5 o'clock there.
Yes, it is. It is. That's true.
Get that thing that you were going to send to Charles?
Oh, I did.
We have something. Tell Charles there will be something arriving in the mail.
Yes.
I will tell him. I will tell him. I'm sure he'll call you. So
We share that love for cowboy music. So
that's very true. You do.
send him some stuff. Yeah.
I can't wait. That's
It's
exciting.
great to see you, and
It
thank you for
Great
sharing
to
all
see
that
you
information
both.
Yes.
about Delray and Old School Square. And congratulations on being chairman of the board and then being able to, your term is almost up. That's got to
Yeah.
feel like a weight off your shoulders.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a weird way to leave. I don't leave till January, but boy, it's kind of a strange
Yeah,
time
true,
you
true.
know,
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
you
but
got
it's,
your term got interrupted, didn't it?
Is
Seriously.
it by term or is it by
it's by term.
choice?
This is my second year as
Oh,
chair.
okay.
And I was vice chair the year before, so my time is up, and I rotate off the board. I've been on for 7 years,
Oh,
so
wow.
I rotate off for a year, and then I can come back.
Well,
Awesome.
they are going to miss you, that is for sure. But I'm sure you're going to be. You'll keep a set of keys, right?
I'll stay involved.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Yeah,
I will stay
absolutely.
involved.
Hey,
Wonderful to see you, my friends.
good to see you. And do us a favor,
Mhm.
because I'm pretty sure you and the staff talk. If you talk to Holland, tell him that I love seeing the babies growing. They're so
Oh my
adorable.
gosh,
I
forgot.
will tell
So
him.
adorable.
I will tell him. He gave me some of these notes, and I hope I said everything that he wanted me to. So
We'll let you know.
Yeah.
he will. He'll let me know.
But
So,
it
love
is
you both.
love to you guys, and this, I will just say this: Facebook is a love-hate relationship, but being able to see pictures and keep up with you guys and like other friends, and to see, just like I said, I see Holland's babies on the Facebook, and it just makes me smile. So that's the good part of social media.
That's the best part of it.
Absolutely.
Part of social media. It absolutely is.
Give our love to Charles. We love
So
you.
if we pull up in a Winnebago one day,
We got a nice wide driveway. Bring it on.
okay.
Awesome.
Love you guys.
Love you
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye.